From Hopkins, Andy and I made it to San Ignacio, which is really close to the Guatemalan border. From there, Andy had a change of heart and decided not to go to Guatemala, but to see a friend in Mexico instead. I carried on across the border with a minimum of fuss, but a lot of stomach problems. After riding in the rain on this awful muddy road, I ended up on a ferry which took me to some tarmac. Well, it's been raining pretty well most of the day, certainly since I left the border in Guatemala and Belize. It's still raining a little bit, but I've had it. So I ended up in this resort. Well, today I've had enough of riding in the rain and through the mud. The bike is filthy. And I'm tired. And I got the runs. I woke up this morning and it's only about 7 o'clock. And all of a sudden I see this big balloon. I stopped at a little lake just outside of Tikal, where I found this ill-tempered pig coming after me. She was just trying to protect her piglets. I also found this hippie bus with 60 people in it. I heard later they had all been kicked out of Tikal. Jaguars tend to be elusive. You certainly won't see them during the day, so I wasn't too worried about hitting one. At the lodge I met Caesar, who turned out to be a guide with great passion for his people, and was wonderfully animated.
Taking the time to come and appreciate this side of the world, why not? Yeah.
All right, let's go for it.
Let's do it. They came in a bus, a school bus, right? And they told them, no, it's 150 to get in. So they got off the bus and started going, Pachamama, Pachamama, and they weren't letting anybody going in. We literally threw them out because there were some people that were naked in the area. And we have people from all over the world here. And we can't have that, you know? So we threw them out. Yeah.
When did the first Mayans arrive here? Is there a record of that?
Yes, there's a record. Thanks to the radio-dating carboning system, which dates organic material, I would say 600 years before Christ. Some argue 900 before Christ. But whichever the date might be, they all agree that the people that came and nestled on this high level of ground, a limestone backplane, have to be interpreted as an agricultural nucleus. And they started to build, of course, out of perishable material, you know, wood and also palm fronds. Come 250 after Christ, you start building out of stone. So you were asking about how to differentiate between a human offering and a human sacrifice. Well, a human offering would have been that of a person that would have done it willingly. I would have had to make sure that he didn't suffer any pain. A big pharmaceutical in this tropics in this side of the world, like in other parts around the world. So I would have had to
Be suicidal.
okay, if you wish. We still got people like that today. Reminding you Jim Jones. But when you talk about children, if we look at the Inca Trail, National Geographic has done wonderful investigations, you know, documentaries on how these children were placed into mountains and volcanoes. It's believed that they would have been taken by their mother or along with the mother on a pilgrimage, which is equivalent to walking from Mexico to Canada, I presume. It would have taken a couple of months.
My goodness.
And along the way, they would have given them chicha, fermented corn drink, and also coca leaves to endure the altitude. And then they would have been placed in a fetal position in the mountain or in the volcano, kind of like suggesting going back to Pachamama, Mother Earth. But what I don't understand is the strangling. This that we have here, this area here, it's The first group of structures that was investigated by the University of Pennsylvania in 1956, 1 year after this was termed a national park. The project in itself was termed the National Project of Tikal. 13, 14 years in the making. I say the cream of the crop. They were in this inhospitable area for that length of time. And they were finding shafts of stone known as stelas, which derived from the Greek word standing stone. And these were in no way used as tombstones. They were pages of history of Tikal. Some were painted, others were richly sculptured, with a profile depiction of individuals that would have had elongated skulls, reminding you of Egypt with the Kenaton, and his son Tutankhamun and his sister both had elongated skulls. Here, 5 days after the birth of a child, they would have done that by putting a piece of wood here and another one here for an unknown period of time, causing physical deformation. And also the enlarged earlobes, lower lip and lip, and pronounced nose bone. If you had these physical characteristics inflicted onto you at an early age, you were interpreted as a god.
Here we have some army ants on the move. Let me see what happens if I put something in between here.
Oh, we got something here. We got something. Is she a beauty?
Beautiful.
I call her the redbud. It's a tarantula found in the northern part of Guatemala and Tikal.
Very docile, huh?
Yeah, well, yeah, if you don't manhandle her, she'll be all right. And what happens is that whenever she feels threatened, the hairs will be let off to the atmosphere, and that will cause immediate asphyxiation on the predator. Now you gotta help me get it off my back. Come on, mija.
You can see how easily this rock pulverizes. Just that piece of rock. So it's very difficult to keep it in good shape. Look at that. Look at this place. There's nobody here yet except for one lone photographer.
Now this that we're walking on, this is a remnant of a sock bay, or a white road if you wish. We've registered a number of them, about 5, that would lead in and out of the city.
So this is an original road.
Yes.
And were there any written records kept?
Yes. The one thing, the written records for these pre-Columbian cultures, perishable material. And so most of them have been, destroyed, perished, if you wish. But interesting that you bring that up, because when the Spaniards came about, this time frame had long stopped to exist.
Right.
500 years
That's 1,000 years later.
But everything that had been recopulated, and passed down, word of mouth. Well, I tell you one thing, You tell them two things, three things, and you have a historical novel.
Exactly.
And it has not been an encounter of two cultures. It still is a conquest. So you have to take in mind that everything was destroyed.
Yeah.
Over 20,000 books were destroyed that were written on barks of trees, fiber of cactus, on shafts of stones, stainless.
So they did have a written language.
Yes, they did. Hieroglyphs. Some say Reform Egyptian. You ask me, it's cryptic writing, accompanied with a system of numbering. And they counted by 20s. They didn't count by 10s. They counted by 20s. Most of these pre-Columbian cultures had a lot of traits that they shared. The system of writing, system of numbering, commercial trade, religion, and also the human offering, and also blood-letting acts at endings of periods of time, and which was still active at the time of the arrival of the Spanish. It wasn't up until 1697 that they abolished human offering.
When I was a kid, I was taught about the Mayans, but very limited amount. Basically that they did sacrifice people and animals. That's about it,
Wow, but now with investigations and technology, you can see that what started as an agricultural nucleus, it turned into a ruling theocracy run amok.
Well, okay, also, I was told they were very good mathematicians.
Yes, these people were embedded with time. Yes.
Did they leave any laws behind like the ancient Greeks did, for instance?
Well, that's interesting because most of what has been found is fragmented and is found in museums abroad. We don't have those tablets that have been found like in the Greeks, where mathematical problems were taken care of, Here we don't find that. And it's perishable material, but we do know that they counted by 20s, and experts suggest that these people had various calendars, like the long count calendar.
They were all sun-based calendars.
Sun-based, moon, and also Venus-based. It's believed that these people missed Venus with only 14 seconds of error, and that's no error at all. You know what I mean? So these guys were embedded with time, and if you look around the world, everybody has come forth with a calendar. A calendar is a worldwide necessity, you know what I mean? And these people are no exception.